repulsive sidekick Bill Schultz. What are you wearing? Oh. And he's a pat of butter in a sea of grits. Sitting right next to me, Michigan Congressman Thaddeus McCotter. He's so sharp that Nancy Pelosi uses him to inject her Botox. Oh, and to the Gregalog. It's a Cheeto of charm under a seat cushion of callousness. So to me, presidential elections are a lot like ordering massage from an unfamiliar out-call service near your hotel. You sit in your room hoping someone calm and professional will show up to cater to your peculiar needs. But sure enough, they're never like the picture in the phone book. Sometimes they're not even from the same country. And what's with the Adam's apple? I ordered one. So instead you get creeps. But by the time they're in your room, it's already too late. And you're out $300, sometimes $4, in Manhattan $550, plus tip. Don't put it on your credit card. I learned. Back to the presidency. The very nature of the desire to run our country selectively eliminates the sane people and caters only to the egomaniacal. Look at the recent candidates. Bill Clinton, John Edwards, Donald Trump, Jonathan Albert the Impaler Sharkey. All egos on life support. The folks who are truly smart, creative, tough, and moral tend to sit this thing out. Perhaps they realize it's not worth it, or maybe they already have a great job. More than likely, their ego doesn't need a hefty stroke. Which is why it requires America to pursue the people they want to lead them. Which is why I'm asking Congressman Thaddeus McCotter to consider tossing his hat into the ring. Look how excited he is. In my mind, he's one of the few polls who seem less interested in impressing celebrities or making cheap points of sentimentality than preserving the freedoms unique to our delightful island nation. And this is not an endorsement, mind you, and I'm not even allowed to vote since the incident in the public library, which I've apologized 4 times for. But I'm just saying, Congressman, please make this interesting. Anything so I can get a free campaign button. It's a perfect clasp for my shorty robe. And if you disagree with me, then you, sir, are worse than Hitler. Congressman, or Congo as I like to call you in the backyard. What do you say? Is it time for you to think about this? Huh?
Well, Greg, despite your little soliloquy there, my faith in the American people remains unshaken.
Oh, that's good, yes. Any thoughts? You could do this job.
I could do your job.
Yeah, that's true.
And then again, so I got a trained lemur.
Basically, you're avoiding the question.
Okay.
You're avoiding the question, are you?
I'm avoiding you.
All right. Who do you like? Who do you think is a potential next president?
Well, I suppose Red Eye's the place to say it. I've been the hidden hand behind the draft Andy Levy movement.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you for hurting my feelings. Before we move on, Congressman, if the economy stays the way it is, people expect Obama to lose. As long as the Republicans do not nominate a fringe candidate, this was written about in Salon. Who would you call a fringe candidate? I know. That got the biggest laugh of all from him, is mentioning Salon.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Look, the country's in a very chaotic period of time. What the Republican candidates have to do is talk about where we're going to go, how we're going to define freedom in the 21st century, how we're going to transcend the welfare state, challenge the American people, as Ronald Reagan did, to reach for their best and do it. And they're not seeing that right now. And it's a question of whether or not they can convey that or whether they even truly believe it. I think that when we talk about having a conservative year coming up, that could work, it could not. We can't rest on our laurels. The country knows what's not working. They know that under President Obama, we're neither being led nor governed, and he must go. But the question is, go where? And that's up to these people to put that out in front.
I like the idea that only the
with
rich...
money and holding guns, and the white soccer mom is rapping. I don't understand whose direction that was.
You know, that's just a stereotype that you like to enforce, Bill, and it sickens me.
You may not like soccer.
Congressman McCotter, have you considered doing any rap music to help get your word out when you run for president?
No, I found those 2 particular pieces to be rather discordant dung. And I would think that if the liberals claim to be the artsy creative people, they might want to have those pulled before people are disabused of that notion. Fortunately, we will be playing, my brother's band and I were going down to Miami, Ohio area, and we're going to be playing for military families and the soldiers to raise some money for them. And I swear to God, you won't hear that.
No? There'll be no hip-hop breaks in the middle of the rock?
No.
You won't be out on stage going like this, waving your arms?
No, we won't be doing any of that.
Yeah.
We'll be playing MC5 and things.
And by the way, aren't mercenaries cool?
Yeah,
God, don't bash them. They're cool.
Don't most rappers want to look like mercenaries?
I can tell you what I did last night. How does the human brain work, Greg? How does the human brain work?
In your instance, badly.
That was just unnecessary. Right in, Marla Gibbs. Chastise him.
I think she's dead.
Let's carve out one exception for Gary Eaton's band, King Size Maybe, The Army That You Have, that does put out things.
Yeah.
With a conservative bent that are very good rockers. They do them themselves, based out of California with John David and other people. So I think that there is a place for it if you do it well.
Yeah.
That or I got to throw out Lennon's albums in New York City.
Yeah, that is true.
And I don't want to do that.
And I love The Who.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're really
seminal.
They are seminal.
Yes.
Don't know what that word means.
I think it's dirty.
Yeah, it's a medical. I think it's a medical term.
We should, yeah.
Yeah, I had mine checked out.
Yeah, I donate.
John,
All right.
Pete, George, and Rob.
I get that around books, too. I think we need a new fact checker, though. Sorry, got to be cold-hearted about it. Congressman, what do you make of her argument against offshore drilling? Does she make some good points?
Well, first I got to say it looks like Sleepy Kitty was watching Kate Walsh's show. But it's classic liberalism. They believe that if you disagree with them, you're misinformed, and they don't care if it's you or the entire American public. They seem to think they know best. They clearly do not want a responsible energy strategy. They want to go cold turkey. They want gas prices higher. And as for the logic of how producing more American oil will not decrease our dependence on foreign oil, well, I don't know the new math as well as some, but clearly I think she may be in error.
Just a few pennies, I think, at most, is what she said.
Yeah, mine won.
Greg Along, Republican candidate's not exciting anyone. Congressman McCotter, if drafted, I will not serve, just so you know.
That's very disappointing, even in the Oval Office in Al Gore's library.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
What if they create a first cat?
Well, then maybe we can talk.
Okay. I knew that would get to his heart.
Let's leave it to the voters.
Hey, Andy, when you were asking that question to Jedediah, do you know who was laughing uncontrollably to my left? Congressman McCotter.
Well,
Was he
that's
really?
because Anthony was tickling him.
What's your problem with Governor Gary Johnson, Congressman McCotter?
Oh, legalize it, Mon.
Yeah,
There's not
there you
much
go.
of a national agenda.
I think that's a slight to a guy who served 2 terms as governor to suggest that's his entire agenda, sir.
Well, President
May I
Levy,
remind you that you're under oath? May I remind you that you're under oath, sir? May I remind you that you're under oath?
May I remind you that you're underneath my dignity to respond to.
You don't need to remind me of that. You said conservatives should do some rap videos of their own, and thankfully Greg pointed out that that was a really bad idea.
No, I mean, not a rap video. I said
okay.
McCotter on guitar, dude. I mean, that's a whole different level of musicality there.
Is
that's
it?
What yes.
Come on, Andy. I'll even let you play on it, Mr. Keyboard Player. I'll let you use both hands, even.
Listen, Andy, if I can get kids to start singing about the Constitution and getting into the groove, I'm all for it.
Okay.
No matter how you got to do it.
See, I would find that irritating.
Yeah, I've had teachers like you.
I'm completely opposed
I was a teacher, if you'll recall.
I'm completely opposed to all of this.
Yeah.
Congressman McCotter, you said you found the videos to be discordant dung, and that if liberals think they're the RT ones, they should be disabused of that notion. Should point out that the EPA's rap was recorded by a guy named Ted Coopwood, who was named a point of light by your personal hero, President George H.W. Bush.
Well, if you're citing him as an expert on what rocks and what doesn't, you're the one with the problem.
I'm just pointing at who he is.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Oh, and Marla Gibbs is not dead.
Oh, thank God. I love that woman.
Yes. She has a movie in post-production right now called The Last Laugh, which stars Tony Rock, who I believe was a former Red Eye, I guess.
Yes, he's Chris Rock's
brother.
cousin or something.
Right.
Yeah, that was back in the day when we just didn't even bother going after people and went after their relatives.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had, I think that same week we had Sarah Silverman's sister, and that's not a joke.
And didn't we have Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie?
No, we never did.
No, we
never
never
did.
did.
He turned us down?
He turned us
We
down.
actually,
for sure.
we actually turned him down.
Oh, we turned him down?
Yeah.
I feel bad about that.
Yeah.
And how their careers have blossomed.
Yes.
Kate Walsh says Americans who think offshore drilling will decrease our dependency on foreign oil are misinformed. Congressman, you said this is classic liberalism, that if you disagree with them, you're misinformed. Here's the thing, though. Isn't she kind of right? America has between 2 to 3% of the world's oil reserves, but we consume 25% of the world's oil. So any reduction in the dependency on foreign oil that we would gain from offshore drilling, which I support, would be tiny, wouldn't it?
It would certainly be better than nothing, and what it does is
I agree.
leads to a responsible transition towards a green energy future, which is done by the free market, not by the hand of government, and certainly not by cold turkey, which would destroy jobs and increase costs throughout households in America. And I read that at Salon, which I found laying in Al Gore's library.
Don't get me wrong. I say drill it out of the planet. That's not my thing.
And
Well, you are single.
I have to correct you on one thing.
Please.
We have more than 2% of the world's oil reserves. That does not count ANWR, the Outer Continental Shelf, or shale we have in Wyoming, Colorado, or Utah.
I think we're 3% with all of that.
3% with all that? I'm going to have to double check that, but I think it might be a little higher.
That's the only figure I could find, but
Obama's out there
not
saying
my thing.
2%, and I know that's wrong for a
If I
fact.
can, I would also bet that she'd be against utilizing natural gas. She'd be against using our coal reserves. She'd be against any type of domestic.
Hey, I have to
energy
heat my
that's
pool
produced
this
from
summer.
sources.
Thanks a lot. I get that thing up 95 degrees. It's wonderful. He looks like the sleepy kitten.
So if I can, if we only invent things when we need them, how come there's red eye?
That's a backhanded insult.
It is.
Of a compliment there.
Better question, why do we have you on the show?
Because you couldn't get Charlie Murphy.
Because we couldn't get your brother.
You couldn't handle my brother. And Bill Strong.
Gotta go. Just last week.
Lightning round.
Thank you for that, young man. Congressman, we were talking earlier about how you don't read any books. So is this really a big story?
Well, no. I think that it's a very depressing story. I mean, I think all too often in intercollegiate sports, the athletes are exploited. They aren't given the chance to get an education. It really detracts from the scholar is. But I do think that this will change when Jedediah's book comes out.
That is true. Nice little plug there. Anthony, if this is exploitation...
I know, so I say go for it.
No,
Charlie's boss.
I hate people like her. I mean, I'm jealous of them.
I can out-eat any man I know, too. Bully me up. It's easy.
Congressman, do you applaud the decision by Nathan's, fairness and all that?
It's a free country.
That's nice. That's all you got on this?
I don't spend all night thinking about hot dogs.
Yeah, well, you will later anyway. Hot dogs are fun.
No, they're not. That is
Put on a lot of weight with that shrimp. Watch out for that. Crazy. Watch out for that.
Hey, Congressman, you excited for your Detroit Lions to be on Monday Night Football this season, if there is a season?
If there is a season, yes, we're very excited back in the Motor City to have the Lions on Monday Night Football. And I expect, since they're playing the Chicago Bears, to have an intense Twitter war with Mr. Schultz.
I look forward to that, but my theory is that that's the NFL's signal that there will not be a season. That is sort of the little joke they're playing on us and the good people of Michigan.
Yep.
Sad.
Go Bulls!
Anthony Cumia, always a pleasure. Congressman McCotter, a positive delight. That does it for me. I'm Greg Gutfeld. And you knew that.